Hello, and thank you for joining me on today's video blog. I'm Steven Pilkington with Path Home Team, and today we're going to discuss what should I disclose to the buyers when I'm selling my house. So this comes up a lot when we're preparing homes for sale, and of course when we get an offer on a property. What do I disclose? I actually just had this conversation with a homeowner. There was a patch in the ceiling where it looked like there was water damage. It had actually happened prior to them owning it. Since then, the roof had been replaced. And she wanted to know, like, do I disclose that there was a leak? It happened before we were even in there. And my advice is, when in doubt, disclose. You are always better off disclosing, especially if it's been fixed, remediated. If you know about something and you're certain about it, not if you suspect it, if you're certain about it, then you really must disclose those items. So for example, if you have a sewer report, and you know that it's got tree roots in there, and that you just need to clean it out, you got to disclose that. If you have an inspection report from a previous inspection, it's very common for us to have inspections, and then when we go to sell a house 3, 5, 10 years later, if you still have that inspection report, there's probably a lot of items on that list that haven't even been addressed, because no home's perfect and we have a tendency not to fix everything. But it is important to share those documents. Now, as part of the due diligence documents in the state of Colorado, we are required to provide the documentation that we have readily available. If you don't have the documentation anymore and you have no idea how to get a hold of it, then you don't really need to provide anything because you don't have access to it anymore. This has happened before with folks, like I mentioned, they bought a house 8, 9 years ago and they just don't have the inspection report anymore. The email doesn't exist or the hard copy doesn't exist. We don't have to disclose anything then. But in situations where we have the documentation, it's always best to disclose. Worst case scenario, and this did actually happen to one of our clients, and we were on the buy side for this. So the sellers did not disclose that there was a problem with the furnace. They said that they hired a HVAC technician to go in there, clean it up, and make it so it was certified to be working properly today. Well, about 2 weeks after moving in, our buyer's furnace just died. They called a furnace company to come out, and the furnace company came out and actually said, oh, we were here about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, and we told them then that this furnace is dead, it needs to be replaced. And my buyer was then able to, we filed, it was unfortunate, we went into mediation and then filed in small claims court, and that seller had to pay for that furnace because that seller had a report from a professional that that furnace needed to be replaced and chose to hide it. They chose to find another HVAC person who said that they could just patch it, but then it died and they didn't disclose that opinion. So if they would have just disclosed to us, hey, we had one person that said the furnace is the end of life, but then this other person actually said that we could repair it and it's okay, then it would have been up to us to accept that or not. And if we had accepted that, then it would have been on the buyer's fault for when that, or the buyer's responsibility to replace it. But in this situation, that seller had to pay for it because they had a report, they didn't disclose it, and the buyers just happened to get lucky. And it was kind of funny because there was a sticker on the furnace, and that's who the buyers called. There was 2 stickers and the buyers called the first one, and that was the one that got them the free furnace. So when in doubt, disclose, but only if you know for certain. If you have a neighbor that walks by and says that they think something's happening, they are not an expert. If you have a furnace professional, an HVAC, if you have a plumbing professional, if you have a structural professional, an electrical professional, state that something must be repaired or something's faulty, that must be disclosed. So I hope you've gotten a little bit of value out of today's video blog. If you have questions about this, which undoubtedly you do, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to discuss your specific situation and if something needs to be disclosed or not disclosed. And until the next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay warm, and look forward to connecting with you on the next video blog.